Hey guys, I'm back with another movie that I just saw, and it's called Trancers. Trancers, 1984, Charles Brand production, Empire Pictures. I really liked it. I really liked it, guys. I did. Now, I am very easy to please, but this was something that had been suggested to me by Lance from the Outcast Creative and a few other people said, hey, have you seen Trancers yet? This is going to be up your alley. It's a little time travel. I know you're like a little stickler for time travel, but I know that you like sci-fi. It's got tons of that future world. And, but the only caveat is that there's zombies in it. Oh, zombies. Why did it have to be zombies? But it doesn't ruin the film for me. Well, let's admire this wonderful poster. Isn't that really cool? Wonderful artwork here, and I do adore it. This character here is played by Tim Thomerson. He is called Jack Death. He is a bounty hunter in the middle of a very dystopian future. It's very much like Blade Runner, but it does have a unique storyline of its own. Jack Death works with the police department, and he goes around and takes out what are called trancers. And trancers are people who have been seduced by people who can do the trancing, I suppose. The person who is the big offender here, who is seeking power, seeking to take over the world, is Martin Whistler. And Martin Whistler is played by Michael Stefani, very brilliantly, I might add. He wants to control this future world. He has a wonderful little plan. So Jack Death has a scar down his face, and his hair is rather dark. In this world, it isn't a kind world to the people in the future. He goes into a diner. He's tracking someone. The lady in this diner serving people is actually a trancer. She turns into sort of a zombie-like creature. She's like quite skillful at fighting him and actually hurts him quite a bit, but he is able to put her down, if you will. And one cool aspect of the special effects here is that when a trancer has been shot or killed, it turns into burnt ash and disappears. It absolutely vanishes. And so that is unique for this movie, I would say. I love that. On the most part, these trancers, they look normal, like normal people, until they trance out. And that's when they look like zombies. And so here's a little bit of the future world. There isn't a big budget here. It's very low budget, but they managed to get a few shots here and there where they had some neon light, a lot of smoke, and created some effects. And here's another one, another place, the ruins of downtown LA. And they're at the beach, and it's Los Angeles. Isn't that cute? They were really cutesy, but also, in my opinion, clever and creative. I had a nice laugh from it, but also it does fill in the unique world that they're building, right? A little world building, never hurt anybody. We do have a character called McNulty, and he is sort of the liaison between the cop and Jack Death. To try to get him back into the system, they need his help because something really terrible is happening. Martin Whistler has declared war on the rulers of the society and have gone back in time, and he is killing them off one by one. And it's really quite terrifying to think of, someone going back in time and committing these acts of assassination. It's very intense moment here. It turns out that Whistler had something to do with Jack's wife being murdered. And so he really holds this animosity and pain towards Whistler. He wanted to not have anything to do with the police department at this point. And so they had to go get him and tell him that Whistler is alive and he's doing some, bad stuff. We need you to bring him in. And this is one of the people who might be assassinated. This is Chairman Ash, played by Ann Seymour. We have Chairman Spencer, being played by Richard Hurd, and they are in grave danger. Their ancestors are back in time and are are being targeted. They're going to send Jack Death back in time. Before he does that, he has to go to the medical center. And who's there? Thelma Hopkins playing the role of Engineer Rain. And it turns out they had a relationship before. There's a little bit of animosity, but they are willing to work with each other, it seems. There's some tension between the two, but it isn't really at a point where they can't work together, right? They're willing to work with each other. Jack is kind of like very straightforward. Reminds you of those old school noir detectives. And so he plays it like that a lot. Wears a trench coat. He loves that trench coat. So there's a lot that feels very old school about this character, which I loved. I loved it. He's going back in time, and when he wakes up, there's a girl in his bedroom. It happens to be Helen Hunt. Helen Hunt is in there. She's so cute and so sweet and very bubbly, but it seems like they spent the night together. He's in his new body. So his ancestor is a journalist by the name of Phil Delton. The girl is named Lena, who's got like sort of a punk rock flair. She has different colors in her hair throughout the story. It actually reminds me of Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim's versus the World, where every day she changes her hair to a new color. So in the beginning, we see she has a green stripe in her hair, and then the next day she has pink. It's really cute. I love that. She's got a job as a Santa's helper, a photographer at a mall. As soon as the Santa sees Jack Death, he goes completely off. Now, as you can see from this picture, Jack no longer has black hair. He has white / blondish looking hair. He doesn't have the scar on his face anymore. So he's physically changed, and which is awesome, because I love when movies show you that, like, there is a difference between himself and his ancestor. This Santa goes off and he changes into one of the zombies and just attacks him out of nowhere, but he manages to get the zombie. Unfortunately for him, they don't blame the Santa, they blame Jack Death, and so Jack Death is now under the watchful eye of the police. But guess what? Whistler in this world is a police chief. He's got bad luck. Let's just put that like that. He's got bad luck. He grabbed Lena, and they're on a little adventure together, evading the cop, but also he needs her to complete his task, someone to guide him along the way that knows where everything is. So he does grab her. I thought that was a great idea to do that. And here is Whistler finding the dead body of one of his Trancers. Now, one of the things that they say about the Trancers is that they are of the weak mind. That is how he's able to control them. Very, very interesting. You could go really deep on this story. In many ways, this kind of reminds me a little bit of The Hidden as well. It just has flavors that kind of remind me of that, especially with them being in 1984 and going through this sort of chase sequence of events, which is very interesting. And all the while, Lena and Jack are really developing a really sweet relationship. It's really adorable. She's significantly younger than he is, but for some reason it doesn't seem bad. I could be reading into this wrong, but I thought that they were cute together. It seems like she was teaching him how to be more like a real person. Like, he had lost that in a way after his wife died. He seemed very, very hard and cold, but with her he's just softening up a little bit more and more throughout the story, which I absolutely loved. I love that, their little love story, if you will. They get cornered by Whistler. Now, these cops are also Trancers, but they don't totally trance out. But one of the things that Jack was given was a time clock. This stopwatch allows the user to stop the world for 10 seconds and escape any issue that they're going through. It's so cute. It gets them out of trouble. He manages to grab Lena and they escape their little situation. I love this. I won't tell you the end of it. It is really a fun movie. You know, if you can say this has any horror in it, it might be with the zombies, and it's mostly fun, lighthearted, very much a product of 1984. The music is lovely. It's got like this trancey Blade Runner, industrial, electrical, new wave kind of sound to it. Loved it, and a low budget. And a low budget too. So I mean that's one of the things I like to take in consideration. This is a low budget project. I don't expect much for special effects, so, but they did do a good job on it, and I appreciate that. I thought that was really cool. And I thought the ending was pretty clever as well. So this is totally up my alley. This would have been the kind of movie that I would have stayed up late at night to watch on television. Trancers also has many, many posters. Here are the two other ones that I could find, which were really cool. And I'm still to this day, still shocked that Helen Hunt was in the, when you watch this entire thing, the actors are doing a great job. I also should have mentioned that Art LaFleur was in this and plays McNulty, and say, here's two more awesome posters for Trancers. I mean, look at these posters. So great. Love this stuff. I love the creativity here. And Trancers went on to do many sequels. We've got Trancers 2, Trancers 3, Trancers 4, Trancers 5, Trancers 6, and then there was what is called the City of Lost Angels. It's supposed to be telling a story between the first Trancer and the second Trancer movie. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I believe Trancer 6, same attitude, different sex. I think it's the same character, but he's now in a different body. So one thing that they said in this story, which was really interesting, was that this character, Martin Whistler, tells Jack Deft that Lena was supposed to end up marrying Phil. So Jack is Phil's descendant. So if that's the case, then Lena is related to Jack. Do you think, maybe I could be wrong, but technically if Phil was supposed to marry Lena, well, that's if they had kids. Okay, so maybe they didn't have kids. Maybe he married her, but then he married somebody else, and then they had a family. But this is really wild, right? I don't know what to say. Also, what happens to Phil in all this is a very good question. So, yeah, the story was pretty good. I love low budget films that actually have strong story plot. And this does. Is it the best quality of everything? I wouldn't say so, but I would say where they're really lacking in is definitely budget. Some lighting, I would say some lighting. Most of the lighting was pretty good, but some lighting. A little bit more drama, a little bit more science. Yes, guys. Well, I hope you liked this review of Trancers. I hope you've seen it. If you have seen it, tell me what you think of it. I really want to know your opinion. Also, if you haven't seen it, would you consider taking a look at it? Is this something that you might consider doing? I'm actually interested in taking a look at some of the sequels to see if there's anything more I could learn about this world, this very intriguing post-apocalyptic world. Definitely some sort of wild dystopia. All right, I will see you in the next video, guys. Take care.